Well, Hokori have basically put themselves into this scenario. It just feels kind of like a pick your poison kind of move. If you take out Angel's Heroes, great. He may not be as big of a deal, but we've seen what Dark Mago can do from that middle lane. In a lot of situations, he's just able to sort of dominate the game by himself, regardless of what Angel and Oscar are sort of doing elsewhere. So you do run that risk, but you got to change up something, I suppose, based on the sort of game one strategy. So we'll see how that pays off. In the meantime, Thunder Predator going to get their hands on the Bane. So much like the Rubik in game number one, I felt like Hokori were able to get quite a bit out of that Bane in Gardick's hands. It's one of his better heroes, and obviously, as the game went on, the Bane became less effective, but in the early stages of the match here, Thunder Predator are going to have the means to try and set up some plays, and Hokori, a step in the right direction there in terms of potentially countering it with the Legion Commander. You're going to be able to maybe remove some of that lockdown with the press the attack.
Yeah, and in the Hoodwink pick, I mean, we haven't seen a Hoodwink in a good while here. The hero really fell off the face of the earth for a good bit there, where nobody really was finding her entrance back into the meta. Of course, I think El Misho, really historied player on that hero. I think he's really spammed the most out of a lot of fours coming from South America. So it's interesting that they're going to go for it here. It's not the most reliable way to break that Fiend script, but will be interesting to see how he actually ends up helping up his teammate here. I think in any scenario, you did pick up another hero that's slightly hard to kill than, let's say, the Lion, but you're giving damage in that duel that you were kind of lacking. That's the problem with this Disruptor hero. Fantastic control, not the greatest burst, not something that we've seen in a lot of other fives in the meta right now. But what does Thunder Predator want to pick here? I was going to say, no Monkey King, no emphasis on the Monkey King is what I was going to talk about with the first few bands, but now picking it up with what can only assume is going to be Angel's Hero, another really classic Angel hero, and picking it already into a melee matchup that he knows that he should have a pretty good time in. It's an interesting hero to go for, because usually you don't want to pick Monkey in the Hoodwink because you're in the trees always, and that's exactly where Hoodwink is as well. So really interesting decision to go for that hero, actually.
Hmm. And you do have to be a little bit careful of the Legion Commander as well. We'll see what Vitali, or I'm assuming it'll be Vitali to play it, what he sort of goes for, if there's anything along the lines of a blink, because if you're the Legion Commander and you have vision on the monkey, if you could blink in there, maybe hit him up with the duel, regardless of whether that duel is something you can even possibly win, you take him not quite out of the fight, but out of a position to maybe use the Wukong's command, and without that, a lot of Thunder Predator's team fight sort of area control can be taken away. You get the Monkey King out there, that buys time for the Disruptor to get in with the Static Storm, and maybe you turn things around like that, but that's relying on that Legion Commander actually getting something along the lines of a blink and having the vision on the Monkey King to make that play happen. But now, well, with the Queen of Pain being picked up again, maybe there's a little bit more credence to that. Hokori could have multiple heroes to just sort of get in quick and start off some of these engagements.
What are the odds here they just pick Puck again? That would be
Uh,
incredibly interesting, but I think it is a much worse Puck game. You're playing versus the Static Storm, you're playing versus the Blink Duel. It's definitely a lot riskier, even though it does match up pretty well, but even then, we're still seeing a very similar draft coming out from both teams, because I, again, think that they're both very confident. I don't think Hokori feel like they stumbled in there, even though I definitely think they've made some very good adjustments. We'll have to see how the Hoodwink ends up turning out, because, of course, Hoodwink ulti, you're going to give that break over to the Tide Hunter, the Tide that's already playing versus Duel, which is not something that you're just going to be able to shrug off. Queen of Pain's also pretty cheeky to pick up versus the Monkey King, because of course there is that thought of maybe you get Sonic Waved out of the ring, but Dark Mago Lesh is going to be the final pick, and it's an interesting option to go for. I think now you're much more building oriented. You're going to want to push down a lot of those early towers, and it's something that we saw, especially with this team, a lot of times when they were still picking up the Timber Saw in first phase, where Oscar is just the vanguard breaching onto the enemy team's high ground, getting a lot of those early tier 1 towers, and that's something where I think Hokori definitely need to work a little bit harder for those more concise pushes, especially because again, it's all in on RDO again when it comes to tower push, as besides maybe some split push coming in from analog. But once you get into those buildings, into those big fights, everything's going to come from the Luna, where Thunder Predator get to play a little bit further away from each other.
yeah, they've got that sort of option to work with, where they have sort of multiple damage dealers. Dark Mago on that Leshrac is certainly going to be intimidating. I think early on in the lane, maybe there's a little bit of potential for Analog to try and be a bit aggressive, maybe bully him a little bit, but I don't know how much that really carries over into the later stages. The Leshrac's going to build himself up. If he gets anything along the lines of a BKB purchase, then what do? You try to hit him up with the duel, I suppose, or try and keep him locked in place, but a lot of your lineup suddenly doesn't have lockdown or damage to try and get to that Lesh, and he's just going to be doing that AoE really in the middle of the entirety of the fight, in a situation where you could also be dealing with the Wukong's command, the Ravage. So Hokori, in a lot of circumstances, I feel like they might want to group up, but I'm not sure they can afford to.
Yeah, and they definitely are more geared towards playing in those side lanes, towards finding those pickoffs, suddenly rotating one or two heroes, and then looking for those easy kills. And then they can snowball, something that Queen of Pain is very natural and very good at doing. But we got to get to that point, and there's a lot of things that need to go right again for the support duo. Both of them are very level 6 dependent. Once they get them, then I can definitely see the game kind of getting blown open. But that's also where we've got the most consistent offlaner on a very consistent offlane hero. So it's hard to think that Oscar's never going to find his Ravage. I think he is going to hit that opportunity. It's just, can Hokori move around it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if the Ravage is a scenario where you can let it maybe hit the supports or hit like a core and that's kind of it, then that's manageable. You can sort of turn things around beyond that point, but Oscar is always just so reliable, so consistent. Very rarely does he sort of have that off game on the Tidehunter in particular. So, well, not something Hokori will necessarily be able to bank on, but we'll see how things go, as we are potentially going for an early fight. Vitaly, that's a nice play with the overwhelming odds, hitting on to pretty much everybody, but he's got to back off, taking too much damage. But speaking of too much damage, Oscar is actually going to be the one to fall there as RDO gets first blood. And, well, it was a nice push forward from the side of Tpredator, but that's just that advantage of sort of holding the high ground. Vitaly, he was able to throw the damage out. He was able to back away. Nobody could really chase that far after him, and the one guy who tried in Oscar just gets blown up, really. There's just too much damage for him. He is not that tanky at level 1.
Yeah, and I'm really surprised that Panda Boo didn't end up going for the Nightmare, because a Nightmare into a splitter should just be a dead hero, plain and simple, but he wanted the Brain Sap instead to probably make the trades just seem a little bit easier. But you're also going into high ground versus Nighttime Luna, so it feels like Hokori really were able to gauge that situation really well, and then just, I mean, they get the kill. I think Vitaly having to sculpt the overwhelming odds is a little bit unideal. A lot of Legion commanders, of course, get the value point, but you're more in the press the attack, get an armlet, really start to become a true core type of Legion commander nowadays. Armlet's just way too good of an item. Helm of Iron Will is still just as good as it was before. 25 gold isn't going to make that much of a difference.
Yeah, I mean, some of those changes, it always feels like we're not going to stop you from buying this. We're just going to make it maybe a little different in terms of the build-up, timing-wise. But, yeah, certainly still could be valuable here, but we'll see really how this goes. As you mentioned, Vitaly with the overwhelming odds. Damage is there, but not really sure how many opportunities they're going to have. The Bushwhack is available, so if one of these heroes gets maybe too close to a tree in the creep wave, then you could punish them pretty heavily, but odds of that don't seem particularly high right now, as Angel and Panda just trying to push forward. And, well, we've mentioned it before, Angel, he doesn't have a point in the Jinko Mastery now, but anytime you're a Monkey King against another sort of melee core in your lane, that is always going to be something that you can leverage to your advantage. You've got a little bit of sort of built-in sustainability, unless Vitaly just wants to back off of the wave, in which case you're not really playing all that efficiently.
Yeah, it's really no good situation. I think you're doing what you can on Vitaly, right? You're gonna get that level 2 pretty soon here, and they're just trying to make good trades level 1. I definitely think Angel and Panda Boo are pretty appropriately pressing the issue right now. And Elmisha, I mean, Hoodwink is one of the heroes that is classically good at winning those early exchanges, but Problem is, you're really contending versus the other best hero in the game, that just being Bane. Panda Boot is just always going to have more regen than you. I mean, look at his inventory. It's 3 tangos, a salve, and 3 mangoes. He is not going to be ran out.
He knows that, well, I mean, this top lane could end up turning into a war zone pretty quickly if they wanted to, so he is geared up for that potential play. Meanwhile, Angel, I mean, he's getting everything he wants here. Again, he's got that Jingu up now, so if Vitaly pushes too far forward, you punish him, and if he doesn't, he just farms. First hero to hit that double-digit last hit count here in the laning stage, so everything is really going according to plan for Thunder Predator, at least, you know, through the first 2 minutes of the game. But your Monkey King is set up for some success here, and if you're Vitaly, get your levels, find what last hits you can. We'll see what he can do later on once he hits level 6, but for now this is going to be a probably passive setup for him.
Yeah, it's a waiting game. Once you get a few more levels, then maybe probably Dire are the ones that are going to get really aggressive, but you can never count out the moment of courage, LC. Like, that spell honestly works in such mysterious ways. Sometimes you just get 30 denies in the lane, and then there's none the wiser on the carry.
And meanwhile, down bot, well, not a lot of, I would say, direct aggression onto the Luna or the Disruptor, but you do see Matthew just trying to sort of keep these camps under control. He'll physically block that one, and yeah, keeping the other camp blocked as well, as Elmisho does get the kill onto Angel up in the top lane. So I said they were going to maybe try and play it safe, but if an opportunity presents itself, Elmisho's willing to go in, and the Bane really was not quite capable enough of being that sort of defensive anchor. So Hokori are able to get their first kill on the, or excuse me, their second kill on the board here, and that's going to serve to slow down Angel a little bit. He's still very much happy with this lane, but at least Vitaly is able to maybe catch back up a bit.
Yeah, and plain and simple, it's just going to be every single time you can sit in a creep wave on the LC, you're going to have so many things proccing that moment of courage, and that's where Angel finally has that second point up in Jingu Mastery, but even then, I think you've just caught off guard. If you can't actually get that Jingu, then you are going to be in pretty dire straits here, and Vitaly, I mean, man's got boots. He is matching exactly what Angel's going for. Of course, Angel has the CS advantage, but really this top lane's a lot closer than I think they were really prepared for, as well as Panda Boo not moving his region over to the Monkey King, I think, as soon as he wanted, but I don't think a cheeky kill like that is going to happen again, especially with Elmisho already rotating out. They kind of know that that was their one moment. Got to focus on the other lanes.
Hitting up Matthew down in the bottom lane, getting him trapped up inside of that kinetic field, so the Wind Run normally useful, but not when you're trapped inside. RDO able to supply a little bit of extra damage, and Hokori 3 straight to open up the game here, so they are starting to look pretty good in the opening few minutes here, and well, back up top, Elmisho, he's getting hit, but this really is not a kill that they're going to be able to secure, and with the Bushwhack back up in a few seconds, Panda may want to be careful. He's going to turn around for the Brain Sap, and I think that'll be enough to get him out of there, but that could have gotten dangerous if he'd have been stunned up.
Yeah, but you see how scared they are of the Jingu. They just don't want to even play with it, because they know they get a little bit too far forward, you have that second level Brain Sap, and then suddenly your Elmisho is no longer an Elmisho.
It's worked out once for them before, as you said, that sort of cheeky kill earlier, but not indicative of opportunities they're going to be able to get consistently. So they're not going to let that early success get to their heads. Don't chase too far and give Angel an opportunity to find some sort of get-ahead kill. Just keep it safe, keep it simple. Angel is obviously still farming well. Top last hit so far in the game, but you're going to have to be okay with that. And to be honest, I say he's got the top last hits in the game. Technically, that is true, but he's one last hit and a couple of denies ahead of RDO, so your Luna is just sort of living it up down bot in a scenario where you can't dislodge the Tidehunter, but Oscar is not really doing anything other than just playing for himself at the moment.
And we see emphasis, huge emphasis on stacking yet again, but the biggest really pacemaker in this game, I think, is yet again Analog. He is just running a clinic in this mid lane. He's really putting Darkmago through his paces, who of course is able to get the level 6 now, but up until this point it has felt like a struggle, as well as your Shadow Strike actually does something now, and whoa, Gardic? Well,
Can he somehow... Look at everyone just trying to time it out. But Oscar is going to be able to get the kill. Gardic, though, he was disruptive. He stole away a bounty rune, actually, when that spawned up a little while back. And now you know that the stacks are there. As up top, Analog rotates in. Should be an easy kill onto Panda here. One more hit will do it, but I think they were kind of hoping that Angel was still around. Of course, his absence from the lane is kind of what really guarantees them that kill, so maybe they don't want the Monkey King there in case it got more complicated, but Analog's able to make the rotation, gets the kill, didn't have to use the Sonic Wave, so realistically speaking, he could try to make another rotation here in the next minute or so, but you might want to wait for the next Power Rune spawn coming up, so that may sort of affect that timing a little bit for him.
And most importantly, the Queen of Pain didn't have to use her TP to make that play happen. And
God.
you're gonna need some damage mid, yeah. Always got to be careful with the splitters. That's the one way that Analog does die here. If he just gets chained up right next to that Leshrac, he is just always going to eat so much damage so quickly. But again, I think a rarity. It's not really going to happen all the time, but Dark Mago, just doing the macro focus, taking a huge stack. Stealing some XP on Gardic, though. Look at him go.
Nice play there, but now it is time to leave. Dark Mako is not happy that you're here, and Oscar, yeah, he's going to come over as well. That's a quick and easy kill, and if you're Gardic, you still did get some of that experience, so at least you have that going for you, but, well, you don't really do much to stop this. Dark Mago still cleaned up most of it, and could just go back and finish it now, so it is a bit unfortunate, but if you're the Disruptor, that's the kind of play you have to take a chance on it, right? You're really not going to be able to do too much for RDO, in particular in the lane, as the Luna's starting to rotate towards the jungle already, so not much of a reason to be down there unless you're just looking to sort of soak up experience, and that actually may be the play for them. Gardic is only level 3 3¾ here, so you might want to send him down there while the tower is still standing, but Oscar honestly could sort of put this push together pretty quickly, and yeah. Alone, Disruptor can't defend it.
When they want to do something with Analog, again, he's kind of doing a lot of walking right now. They want to sync up and maybe get something going versus the Monkey King top. I think before they don't get the kill onto Angel because Vitaly just wasn't getting enough soul XP because Elmisho has to be attached to him. Otherwise, there is that fall off, and unfortunately, it's pretty telegraphed, and Angel just avoids the gank. So now bottom, you see even Dark Mago, he's feeling for it. I think they saw Gardic.
Yep.
Just barely.
Well, said it before, the Disruptor could not defend that tower alone. He tries to get in there anyway, and they'll take him down. They should get the tower as well. Over on the other side, it is looking like a trade-off in terms of those tier 1. So Hokori will at least get that. That's a nice bit of gold for the likes of Vitaly and Analog, but it's pretty much going to be an even trade on the towers, and then the kill on the Disruptor swings it Thunder Predator's way. So unfortunate that they ended up losing one there, but you've cleared up a little bit of space. If you're Hokori, this north side jungle is a little bit more accessible for them. Getting that tier 1 mid would be huge for them to really set up in that area long term, but for now, at least they have some sort of entryway, and you actually see Analog is just in this jungle, stacking up cans for himself and trying to steal as much farm away from the opposing side as he possibly can.
Yeah, and the much more emphasis on getting those actual assets, actually getting the net worth out of the map, it's really good to see from Analog. Because again, he didn't have slow timings, but yeah, bottom. There you go, Gardic.
Oh, Gardic. I mean, to a certain extent, this is kind of what you need from him. He's still not getting a lot of experience, but you're at least distracting your opponents. It's about 3 or 4 heroes who all came down bot for a relatively low value kill, but now this is where things are going to get interesting. This setup around the middle lane, you've got Dark Mago coming in, looking for the damage onto that tier 1, and Hokori really aren't in a position to just commit fully for the fight right now. They're just going to have to let the tower go.
They're so concise, and that is the biggest benefit of Lesh Tide. Everyone is just so efficient at their job. Oscar sits in front, we edict the tower, we get the glyph, and then your opponents have to awkwardly sit around and really just wait for one of your mistakes, because you are usurping item timings right now. You're playing ahead of Blink Daggers, you're playing ahead of Orchids, and it's just because your heroes are naturally good at what they do. That wasn't even a max level edict. Dark Mago's gotten 3 points in Lightning Strike, and it still dies in 2 or 3 versions of that spell. And I think that's where they're trying for this Angel stack right now. Oscar's just deciding to take it just because I think he is the most efficient one to actually farm it. You know, Angel is coming over briefly, but everyone is so fast on the No Ping side, or on the Thunder Predator side. Everyone is so efficient. Even Boots of Travel now for Dark Mago. They really are going to start outpacing their opponents.
Yeah. They've got the advantage in terms of the farm right now. They're more mobile. They've got the pushing power, obviously, with the Leshrac. So if you're Hokori, you are not quite where you would like to be right now in terms of your full team fight setup. Vitali needs to finish off that hood and the Blink Dagger. You're hoping that RDO can, well, first and foremost, finish off this Lance, and then maybe look for that secondary item, something along the lines of a BKB. But really, right now, you can't get everything that you want before Thunder Predator sort of come calling again looking for another fight. So you have to decide, are we going to bail out? Are we not going to take any fights until 15, 16 minutes in and see where that gets us? Or do we try to take a fight, and if we do, what are we okay with not having? Which of these major items are we okay with fighting without? And I'm not really sure what the answer to that question is. You kind of need all this. The Orchid for the Queen of Pain is kind of vital. You need your Luna to have damage and preferably a little bit of defensive capabilities with the BKB as well, and without the Blink Dagger, Vitali just can't get in there to actually lock anyone down. So tough choices for them to make. They're looking to rotate their way top, though, and while they rotate top, yeah, Angel and Matthew make their way bottom. El Misho by himself, and they'll quickly take him down.
Yeah, they need lane wars. They need something to get a catch with Glimpse, I think is probably their best tool at this stage. And the problem is the map just feels so small for Hokori. It feels like they really are being forced to choose who they get net worth on. And of course, RDO is always going to take it, but it also feels like the other cores are not really being able to operate right now. You see they've tried to make a home over here, but they're playing in 2 out of the 3 lanes on the Thunder Predator side, and okay, maybe Pandabu gets punished here, probably, but still, you're really just seeing them encompass pretty much everywhere, and unfortunately, it's a failed smoke to mid where they're not able to even catch a 4-wind who just very simply walks away.
So, getting the Panda kill, that is certainly going to be a benefit for them, something that they needed for themselves, but you need more. It has to be more than just the occasional sort of support pickoff right now. We do see RDO and Vitali hinting at a push into the middle lane, but I think they recognize, yeah, their opponents are sort of coming up from behind. So they back themselves away, and, you know, maybe you gave up an opportunity there to push that tower, but no. But if you don't sort of back off then you've got one half of Thunder Predator coming in from behind, the other half could sort of move in for the second half of that pincer, and you're stuck in a fight that you really did not want. So it's unfortunate, but better safe than sorry in that circumstance. They'll fall back, but now 2-man smoke from Panda and Matthew. They're going to try and make their way, presumably up top. They've got the lockdown to go onto Analog, but they don't really have the damage, I would think. But let's see what they can do. There's the Fiend's Grip. Where's the backup, though? Dark Mago's coming in. And there it is. Okay. The full duration Fiend's Grip is enough to set Dark Mago up to get in with a Split Earth and RDO. Well, that's a weird one. I feel like if he wasn't going to be able to get there faster, he shouldn't have really gone for it at all. But with his teammates coming in, they might be able to try something. The duel, though, is going to be delayed as they do get the Nightmare down. And now that Static Storm whipping onto everything. They will throw the duel out onto Dark Mago. They'll kill him off. So they at least get that kill, but it did cost him El Misho. And now look at Matthew. He's pushing forward, but the Glimpse immediately going to pull him back.
Oscar.
Angel and Oscar, they're pushing in. RDO, Ravage is going to be deployed right in front of him, into the Wukongs, into the Boundless. Nice press the attack, though. RDO, if the press the attack was there, which it was, I think he could have walked out of the ring, but not sure that would have saved him anyway. So he just tries to hold his ground. Not going to work as RDO will fall, and Gardic gets picked off to end that fight.
Yeah, it was really a well-placed Static Storm coming in from Gardic. He split up the fight, and even Dark Mago, who almost crazily jumps over the kinetic field with the Tumblr's Toy into 3 heroes, he definitely gets punished by that duel, but everything else is just so successful, and the one hero that's farming on your map is the one that you lose there. Pandabu getting punished again.
He is certainly buying a lot of time here. They are not taking him down quickly by any means, but they do eventually get him. But again, if you're Panda, in this game in particular, and for this squad in general, he is more than used to just sort of being that sacrificial lamb. Get in there and die for vision. get in there and take a 1v3, keep some of these heroes out of their normal farming paths. So if he dies, fine. If Oscar goes down, then we've got maybe a little bit of a different situation, but looks like he is going to be able to make it out before Analog and Elmisho can catch up. So they are going to be able to keep themselves safe, and now, well, farm-wise, checking in on Angel here, didn't really talk about him too much in recent times, but Echo Saber picked up, and did he just finish the BKB? Is that the last piece? Yes, it is. So full BKB coming out to the Monkey King here at the 17-minute mark means these team fights are going to get a lot more interesting. That Wukong's command is coming, and unless they hit him up with a Static Storm preemptively, they don't have too many ways to stop it.
And unfortunately, yet again, we're getting this Orchid timing from Analog that isn't even a bad Orchid timing, but it's coming at a point where the cores are already prepared for an Analog.
That's a problem. Bean's Grip is there. Press the attack. Very nicely put down. Static Storm splitting up the lineup again, just like in the last fight. This time, though, there's a little bit more damage to then follow it up, but will it be enough? Vitaly gets taken down. RDO's going to pop the Eclipse, but there's that BKB from Angel, protecting him from the damage. Shackle in from Matthew now, locking down the Luna. And RDO not dead yet. Press the attack coming in again. Will it be able to save him? He's trying to make it out. Nice duel from that Legion commander. RDO is just barely able to get himself out of Vitaly. Vitaly's not going to lose the duel at least. He does still die, but no bonus damage given away. And Elmisho, is he really going for the kill onto Matthew? He was trying to, but now he's going to get punished for it. Matthew turns around, gets the stun, gets the power shot. Elmisho will fall. Gardic was taken down by Angel further to the north. And it's not quite a team wipe, as the Luna was able to get away, but that's 4 kills. And actually, was that 5? Because the Legion Commander apparently bought back. Didn't quite notice that. So yeah, that is 5 deaths in total, and now your LC, well, progress towards that Blink Dagger is entirely wiped out.
Yeah, and they got, honestly, the ideal start to that engagement. They use Grip, you immediately save Analog. Analog's able to play around the fringe of the fight. I think the big difference maker there is they're just so good at identifying what they're strong with. Angel just runs at the Luna with 400, 500 HP, knowing that she's not a right-click threat, and even though you get the BKB delivered onto RDO, he immediately disassembles the lance to complete it. It still feels like they're scrambling to get those engagements that they actually want. We're not seeing really that front force coming in to give the vision over to Analog, who should be able to play on these supports. You're playing versus a Wind and a Bane. It should feel like we Orchid them, we come at the beginning of the fight, we snowball that into something else, but instead, these cores are just showboating and standing in front of everyone, making it nearly impossible for any of the Hokori side to find those easy picks. Cool.
Nice play from Elmisho. They turn around with a Static Storm, and, well, can they actually get this? Fiend's Grip from Panda onto RDO, but he's quickly going to cancel it himself. Dark Mago, though, they need to back him up. They need some protection. Do they have it? Dark Mago, he's able to get away. There's the Ravage from Oscar onto 3. And that is going to completely slam the door in Hokori's face. They lose 3 heroes. Gardic is going to make it a 4th death here as Angel jumps in onto him with the Primal Spring for the triple. And, I mean, you got to give him credit. That was a nice start to the fight. Bushwhack onto 2, into a Static Storm. They were so close to getting Dark Mago. He just gets by on a sliver of HP, but they were close, but they weren't close enough. It turns into an absolute disaster, and now speaking of disasters, Analog, he might get jumped in on here. Can they actually lock him down long enough to find this kill? Well, no. Analog's able to get away. Boundless had already been used, so you're at least able to get 1 hero out of there, but it's going to come at a cost. They spotted out Elmisho underneath the tier 1 tower, and they'll quickly pick him off as Angel really just starting to run away with this one.
Yeah, and unfortunately, if they have the Sonic Wave there, if they're actually able to kill really both of them, if they can get the Tide and the Lesh in that timing, this game looks so much different, but unfortunately they barely survive, and then it feels like the game really is snowballing in the opposite direction. The team with the more stable, maybe slower burning heroes are really convincingly winning this fight, and now Angel making progress towards the Scotty. Once he gets Scotty, this Luna cannot show her face in any engagement. It is going to be a game of we need to wait till the Monkey King does his thing, and then I'm either split pushing or I'm playing on some other heroes, because you can't win that fight. You straight up cannot win that fight. And they're still trying to get these picks in Dark Mago into tree line.
Start with a silence. There's the duel. Okay. They've got the potential, and they will win the fight. Static Storm now going to be deployed. That, well,
Ooh, sloppy.
doesn't really do too much for them. Angel is still pushing his way forward. Oscar's coming in as well. No Ravage for 40, but Vitaly, he's not going to be able to get himself out of here. He still doesn't have that blink, so he just can't create the separation. And now the Nightmare Actually went on to Analog, into the Shackle, into the Wukong's command, but they need more. They've got more. Panda's there. Look at that Fiend's Grip just outside of the ring as well, so there's no way anyone can cross through the ring to get to him. And Analog gets taken down, and honestly, you let Vitaly go, but who cares? You got the more valuable of those two.
They do need to be careful. They can definitely get glimpsed into death here, especially the ones without BKB, but it just got so split off, and without any real way to get rid of that grip, I think that was the most confident I've ever seen the Bane go for that Fiend's Grip play. There was absolutely nothing they could do.
Oh,
okay.
Oscar. Big Ravage. Matthew blinking in. The Shackle down onto 2. Angel jumping in now as well with Primal Spring. They're going to be able to take down RDO right away. Vitaly's now on the run as well. The glimpse back from Gardic is really not going to be too significant here, as Vitaly did go for the duel, but, well, not a duel that he's really going to be able to win. Vitaly falls, Elmisho dead as well, and now Gardic, run for your life, but he's not going to get very far. Shackle Shot locks him down, Angel's in for the damage. And this is getting a little into the one-sided kind of territory. Triple the kill count of their opponents right now for Tpredator, and, I mean, I said before, Angel was sort of starting to run away with it. He is still the highest net worth hero by a wide margin, but you see that Leshrac has moved into second place. You've got Oscar just constantly making these Blink Ravage plays, so it's not just the Angel show right now. Tpredator are just dominating these fights as a team, and Hokori just don't seem to have the coordination right now as Analog. What? I don't exactly know what the plan was there, to be honest. Now Vitaly's going to get picked off as well. Really, I think all they would have gotten out of that is this kill onto Matthew, which really is not worth it. Matthew will die, sure, but while he goes down, Dark Mago and Angel continue pushing. They get onto Elmisho, and they turn that into a 3-for-1. That... questionable, ET.
Yeah, and it's Quap's rule, right? If you blink forward when you don't have BKB, you die. That is how it happens every single time, and unfortunately they tried to get a really cheeky force out, and Angel was forced to use his BKB in a really unideal situation, but then just got way too ahead of himself on the Queen of Pain, and now it just feels like the map, it is shrinking incredibly quickly. And unfortunately, the easiest hero for you to kill before, that being Dark Mago, now has the full BKB, so killing him is going to be even more difficult. It's funny because he's the one who's actually been farming their side of the map. They have so much map control, someone's ought to take it. So Dark Mago's honestly just been running from camp to camp to camp, and okay.
We're gonna go in again. The Nightmare just getting passed back and forth there. And this is Oscar. Ravage is up in 10. He wants to stick around long enough to get it off. Panda, meanwhile, does throw the Fiend's Grip onto RDO, but the Eclipse was already there, so they are getting that damage out, but they're starting to lose heroes. Gardic taken down. Vitaly going to be dropped as well. Immediate buyback, though, coming in from that Disruptor, but Oscar, he was able to throw out the Ravage. RDO did not have the backup in time. Buybacks got them back in, but they can't close the gap, and, well, RDO himself does have a buyback as well. I think they'd rather not use it, and at this point, there's really no fight to push back into. Elmisho's going to get caught out, and I mean, they can try to get Angel here. Gardic has the static. They're going to go for it. I don't know if they have enough damage, though. Does he have anything like the Sonic Wave? It's in a few seconds. If he could just draw this out a little bit longer, but there's going to be that Shackle Shot. Angel healing up with the Jingu Mastery, and, well, now the Sonic isn't going to be enough to actually get the kill, and Analog will be stunned up and finished off. So just 3 seconds difference there between getting a quick pickup onto Angel and backing off versus really losing everything that they had left in terms of defensive capabilities.
Yeah, really, they just make it look so easy. Like, it's not this easy, I swear, but they're just continuously baiting their opponents into kills that they think that they should have dead to rights, and it's just completely ruined a lot of their item timings, a lot of their map. It just feels like every single time it feels like Hokori can make one of those aggressive movements. Tpredator are already prepared for it, and really, we've got a few more item timings left. RDO's looking for the crit stick. Once he has that in the Ag Shard, then maybe we could see a little bit more damage, but at the same time, Matthew has just not missed a Shackle Shot, and having the Ag Shard as well, anyone who's not BKB'd is just getting shoved into everything else. And
speaking of Shackles,
there you go.
Elmisho gets hit. Elmisho goes down. Vitaly and RDO don't want to be here. They need to get away, but there's another Shackle. Vitaly, they just can't catch any breaks here, and RDO, he might get hit up as well. BKB coming out into the TP. He is going to be able to get himself home, so at least you keep the Luna safe, but I mean, right on cue. The exact moment that you're talking about just how well Matthew had been playing here with the shackles, he jumps in, gets a shackle onto Omisho, gets one onto Vitali. That's 2 quick and easy kills. And now, speaking of kills, Gardick's going to get picked off as well. This TP actually, well, it was close, but Oscar comes in there. He's got the Ags upgrade for the Gush, so the ground target allows it to travel, and they will find that kill. Now Analog's trying to TP out as well. He will make it home, however, so at least you're able to get out your 2 main cores, but they just keep on giving openings and kills away to their opponents.
Yeah, they're just trying to do their job. That's the kind of nightmare situation they're in where it shouldn't work. That should just be a 4-man smoke to kill a hero that's not ideal. They were definitely looking for a Luna, but Ardio's not been able to do what he's wanted in the past few minutes in Dark Mago.
He's very far out there. His teammates aren't here yet, but yeah, that BKB is going to keep him alive, and he's actually just going to straight up win the duel. Okay. The Ravage now coming. That.
Yeah.
Yep. If ever you just want just an exclamation mark on the end of it, that was it. A duel that you lose 3v1 into a Ravage onto everyone, and there's no coming back from that. Tpredator looking, honestly, even stronger than they did in Game 1. They just kept on building momentum.
Yeah, and even though Analog definitely pulled ahead in his matchup in the mid lane, it felt like there wasn't enough pressure coming out. It felt like the few times he tried to make those rotations towards the top lane, Angel was just a little bit too privy to what was going on there. Aside from that one insane kill top lane, that was his only death in the entire game, and really everything just started falling apart once Tpredator walked to their stacks and started farming everything. I think their execution was just a little bit at too high of a level for Hokori to match, and we had the 1 or 2 static storms where Gardick was carrying these fights. He was splitting everything perfectly, doing what he had to do, but just some unfortunate timings and some unfortunate situations where I think Tpredator just hit the mark a little bit sooner, where you have Echo Saber, BKB, Yule Scepter, Boots of Travel, Blink, Hood, all in the same minute, where Hokori are just disjointed by these 2-3 minute gaps where they never fully ever hit their power spike. And I think Tpredator as well, just playing the strength of this Tidehunter, which is still 100% win rate, I think is going to have a really solid win rate coming throughout the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, it's just played so well, and especially in Oscar's hands, we talk about how he is so consistent. He's maybe not the home run hitting kind of player, but you know, there's always room in the lineup for that guy that's going to get you that sort of play to set up something else instead of calling his own number. So every time they needed him, jumped in. Blink was there. Ravage, I don't think ever hit onto fewer than 3 heroes at any point in that game. So he's able to shut it down. BKBs were rare and slow for the Hokori side as well. So Tpredator coming out, looking pretty good. They are not the organization, but the roster that is technically defending champions. They won Pro Series 8 when they were under the No Ping banner, and looking to sort of maintain that run of success. Looking pretty good so far as they join 4 Zoomers at the top of the standings with a 2-0 start. Meanwhile, for Hokori, a little bit less ideal with their start 0-2 now to begin the group stage, but they've got a bit of a shot at redemption here. They are going to be playing another series immediately after this one. They're going to be taking on, I believe it's Infamous that they will be playing. So still a tough opponent, but an opportunity for them to try and bounce back after this initial defeat and, again, try and get some points on the board here in this event.
Yeah, it's going to be incredibly important because, of course, you want to try and set yourself apart from the pack. If it's going to be the difference from being an upper and lower, you always want to be upper. You always want to find that success. So have to see.
We'll be waiting for that one. We are going to be jumping into a little bit of a break here. I believe it is going to be a slightly longer break because Hokori obviously playing back-to-back matches. So we don't necessarily want to just shove them into the lobby right away. We're going to give them some time to recover and regroup. But it will be Hokori taking on Infamous in, I believe, about 15 to 20 minutes. So sit tight. We'll be bringing you that final series of the day in just a little bit.